I'm the first one to say that learning a language isn't easy. It is not something that you can get for free. You need to put in effort in order to get there. But I also believe that with some minor little changes in the way you express yourself can also make a world of a difference. It's not going to be about pronunciation or grammar. I'm just going to give you some little details you can change about your French that will make a world of a difference when you express yourself, and that won't sell it that you're not native right away if your accent is convincing. The first category of things that you can change to drastically improve your French is with your choice of vocabulary. You see, there are a lot of words in French that look just like words used a lot in English, but it doesn't mean we use them a lot as well. Perfect example for that is the verb étudier. Now, it does mean study, don't get me wrong. And studies is étude as well. We don't use it quite as much as people use it in English. Actually, étudier, when I hear someone say j'étudie le français, sounds weird to me as a French speaker because we never use it. We would much rather say something like j'apprends l'anglais à côté, mais je vais en école d'ingénieur, which means I learn English on the side, but I attend an engineering school, rather than j'étudie l'anglais et j'étudie l'ingénierie. It sounds weird. I don't know. It's just more natural to use other verbs that could change, that could keep the meaning, like apprendre. We use apprendre a lot. And when we talk about education, we say where we go to, and it implies that we're studying this. Make sense? Second thing, difficult. Now, difficult in English means difficile in French. I'll give that to you. But just like in English, when we use hard much more often than difficult, the same happens in French with difficile and dur. Dur is hard for French. And dur is much shorter, easier to say, well, at least for us, because the U can bring some challenges, I know that for a fact. But dur is easier to say, faster to pronounce, and it's just the one we end up using in our everyday lives. The adverb seulement. Seulement is like only and just in English, but think of it more like as solely. Actually, I think that's the right translation for it. Solely. You don't use it in English that often, do you? Well, it's the same thing with French. If you say seulement all the time, it can kind of feel too much. It can kind of feel like you're kind of stuck up, and it's not very natural, and doesn't appear very friendly, conversation friendly. There are other alternatives. There is juste, which means just, so very transparent. And there's also que. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you were surprised that que meant also only, because que, after all, que means that and what already. Yeah, it's one of those words in French that have way too many translations in English. But que also means only. So, okay, here's the difference between je suis là que pour une semaine and je suis ici seulement pour une semaine. The former sounds better. It sounds more natural, more conversation friendly. It flows better, at least to me as a French speaker. So get some of that. And it's just shorter. It's more not elegant, but it's just more chill, you know. So use this more than seulement. Que works very well. Juste is great as well. And that brings me to this fourth point, I guess, and it's ici and là. You notice that in the first example I gave just earlier, I said je suis là, and then the second one was je suis ici to prove that it was a bit less natural, right? Là and ici mean the same thing when we talk. Yes, you were lied to. Là doesn't actually mean there. I mean, if you look it up online, it does. The translation will come up as there, but we use là as there. And actually, là also means now and has also translations. It deserves its own video. But for today, just think that je suis là means I am here. It doesn't mean I am there. But like you might ask, how can I say there if it's not là then? Well, we just we specify down there or up there. So that will be là-bas, there, or là-haut, là-bas, là-haut, down there, up there. And it's much more natural, and it's also a bit more specific. But I personally use là-bas all the time to say there. I know some people from other parts of France will use là-haut, so see what you want to use. Now, in terms of, it's a little point about grammar, but it's about the speaking grammar, so it's very simple. In French, you heard about the double negation thing, ne pas, je ne veux pas, just like ne, it means not, and pas also means not. Well, this is when we write down. And early on, people understood that when speaking, you only need one to convey meaning that it's a negative sentence, the meaning that it's a negative sentence. Before in history, people used to skip the pas and say ne, but now for some reason, I don't have the reason, sorry, people use pas rather than the ne, right? So je veux pas and means je ne veux pas. So it might not seem like a big deal, but cutting off one syllable makes it easier, so it's faster. And saying ne is very formal, like all the things we discussed in this video. Seulement is pretty formal. Difficile is not formal, but more formal than dur. And the same thing goes with ne. Saying ne every time in your sentences will not make you seem like a native at all, because we don't use it anymore. It's debatable whether it's a bad thing or not, but fact is that we don't use it, and it sounds better if you don't, because no one uses it. So instead of saying je n'en veux pas, you can say j'en veux pas. Instead of saying je ne peux pas parler maintenant, je ne peux pas appeler, say je peux pas appeler. And it allows much faster speech with, you might have heard about this one. We can say, if you say je ne suis pas, we can't really make it faster, but if you say je suis pas, it can blend in together and give je suis pas, and it kind of sounds like suis pas when we talk fast. So it also allows you to speak more of a slang if you're into that. And my last point for this video is going to be about the double subject system in French. Now, what is that? What is this creature? It allows French speakers to speak pretty fast and still understand each other. What is it? How does it work? Okay, in English, we use only single subjects. So, I am Luca. But in French, it's very common to hear moi, c'est Lucas. Two subjects here. Moi, so kind of like a pointer. Moi, c'est Lucas. Ça in c'est is also subject. I, it's Luca. You see, like, or me, it's Luca. Either or. So it actually makes who we're talking about more explicit. Who is the subject? I'll give you more examples. You can say ma mère et mon père sont mariés, or you can say ma mère et mon père, ils sont mariés, right? So we're talking about ma mère et mon père. The subject would be ils sont mariés. And sometimes we can use c'est, like I use with moi c'est, when we're talking, when we're doing a description or when we're pointing at something. So for example, je vends ça. C'est un jeu vidéo, for example. So if you don't use that in French and you only use simple one subject, so if you say something like mon père est parti, it actually sounds more formal than saying mon père il est parti. I know it adds one syllable. It's silly. Why would we do that? But doesn't matter if it's silly or not. It just makes, I think it makes communication more efficient between French speakers, and that's like kind of a habit of tongue. So use it. It makes your speech more natural, and people will have a harder time figuring out that you're not a native speaker, and this we like. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me if you want a part 2, because there are more things I can say about this subject, and also I'll tell you à bientôt.